what I would advise people or what can help you with that is just to have a plan. Be confident in yourself. Know what you want to do. Don't look at people, right? Some people come in, they start comparing themselves. Oh, this person is doing this, so I have to do this. So they said this. Don't worry about others. Yes, it's good to assess
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
just to grow, but then don't focus on others. Focus on yourself, your capabilities, what you can do, what you came here for. Those guys didn't push you to come to Canada. You woke up and decided to come here. So I believe you have a plan. Work on your plan. Be hardworking. Put down your faith on it, and you're going to succeed.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to leave behind every single thing you know and start a new life in a foreign country? From my experience, it can be a struggle. On the Newcomers podcast, I'll be sharing my story as well as the stories of other immigrants. We'll be talking about the joys and struggles of starting afresh. My name is Dozier, and I'm looking forward to being your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Newcomers podcast. My name is Dozier Anyebunam, and I'm your host. Today, I'll be talking to Chika Offiah, who's been in Canada for the past 4 or 5 years. Thank you for joining us, Chika.
Thank you, Dosie. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here and to share my experience with you all, and I hope you learn or take something away from it.
Awesome. So, I was going to start off with like saying, do you want to talk a bit about yourself, like what you do, who you are? We could start off with that.
Yes, of course. Like Dosia has said, my name is Chika Offiah. I've been in Canada for close to 5 years. I moved in from Lagos, Nigeria, in 2018. I'm married. I have two little kids, and I've been a professional even before I left in Nigeria. I worked in the bank, called Zenith Bank, Sky Bank, a bit of Heritage Bank, and now in Canada, I'm a senior business systems analyst with the City of Calgary. Yes, so that's what I do for a living. For hobbies, I like baking. I really don't like to cook food,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, I
cook
do.
because I
I
have
love
a
your
family.
kids.
And yeah, I cook because I have a family and I feed them well. So I cook, but I love baking. I love sports. I'm a Chelsea fan. I used to be a National fan. Now a Chelsea fan for obvious reasons, right? So I am also getting to learn the NFL game. I'm excited about the Super Bowl coming up. What else do I love to do? I love reading, and then I like
Mhm.
teaching, quote and unquote, like not the classroom teaching, but I always like to impact knowledge on people. I love to teach people new things, and that's what I love doing. Aside from the personal life, I also like everything technology, right? Going with
Mhm.
the world, technology and data is what we're heading to. So I'm also
Yeah.
trying to learn how to code, how to write SQL, Pythons, and stuff like that. And those are the things that I do when I am free from the career and the family duties. Right? I'm not really a social media person, so I'd rather use my time to do things like that. Yeah. So that's a brief
That's
summary of who
interesting.
I am. Yeah.
That's interesting. So let's now go back a bit and kind of start off with you want to walk us through your last days before you left Nigeria, how it felt. Were you scared? Were you excited?
Well, it was a mixed feeling. I was excited because I've always wanted to leave Nigeria. It was a dream come
Hmm.
true for me, so I was really excited to see that dream come true. But again, it was a mixed feeling because I wasn't too sure where I was going and what lies ahead of me, and then I was leaving family behind. So it was that part that I wasn't very comfortable with. But being a Christian, I trusted God, right? I knew it was a dream that I've always wanted, and I was ready to go into it. So I was happy, just a little like not happy, but so it was a mixed feeling. But overall, I um I was thinking that my last day in Lagos, I was going to like stand on top of the roof and tell everybody, God damn, I'm leaving this country finally, Yeah, but I didn't do that. Of course, I was emotional, leaving families behind, all the people that took us to the airport and all that. So, yes, I wasn't, to be honest, apart from family, there wasn't really much that I missed living in Nigeria. I'm not a foodie, so yes, I know from time to time I crave Nigerian food, but I could do without that, right? The things I love to eat, they're here in Canada, so it wasn't a problem for me. So my last days, I wasn't even like saving to eat more or to do things like I won't kind of. I think it was basically the family I was gonna miss. Yes, so that was my last day. Eventually, I didn't stand on top of the roof, but I was quite excited. I was leaving Lagos.
That's interesting. Actually interesting to hear you say that you weren't you weren't going to miss the Nigerian food. It feels like that's one big thing a lot of us miss when we leave home. Like we miss the ease of access to our meals. Like for example, suya. Like I mean, since I moved to Calgary, I've not had proper suya, and I miss it.
Not really. I am not attached to things like that, fortunately. So, yet I think it was only when I was pregnant, the first trimester, I kind of craved the bitter leaf soup. But luckily, I just laid my hand on one in one African store and I dealt with it. And thankfully, it was just for a few days. I was done with it. In fact, to be honest, I fell in love with Tim Bits from Tim Hortons, and that was what
Are
I
you
ate all through.
serious?
Yeah. So I'm not a foodie. I really don't miss food. Sometimes I dream about food, like I could dream about going to market, buying omono, making soup, and then when I wake up, I realize that was a dream. I'm in Canada. Like, just God damn it, So
But doesn't
yeah,
that mean that you miss it a bit? Or maybe it's not as much as others
I think
miss it. Don't you think so?
I think it's not the food I'm missing, right? But there's this aspect of me that it's cultural, right? Yes, I've been in Nigeria,
Yeah.
going to market, making fresh soup, the smell, the taste, and all that. Sometimes they come around, even though like I'm not going to go out of my way or crave for it all day. I
Mhm,
can do without it.
mhm.
Just that dream, think about it a few minutes, I'm done. I'm not going to go around Canada looking for where to make okra soup from. It's not that bad, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna my next question is basically around your first night. So now you were excited and sad at the same time. Um how did it feel, the first night here when you all landed? How was the first night? Still same
My
feelings or like relieved?
My first night, I was excited having a safe flight, landing peacefully in Canada, and thankfully it was sometime around August. It was a very warm weather. Everywhere looked bright.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looked happy. So I was
Mm-hmm.
scared because, of course, I hadn't been to Canada and I didn't really have a close friend or family around, like somebody to talk to or give a hug or here. Yeah. So I was skeptical. Even getting into the car to drive to the Airbnb, I was like looking all over the place. Where am I going to? Where is this? But it looks fine. That's okay. So, and I had a 10 months old baby who kind of took my
Yeah.
attention away from all the worries. So I was interested in getting
Yeah.
home, feeding her, putting our bags down, and then unfolding what Canada holds for us as a young family, just stepping in. Yeah, so it wasn't really scary. I was excited about the whole thing. And then the first night, nothing much really happened. Having a long flight with a 10-month-old baby, we just got somewhere, put our things, had something to eat, and then I do stuff. I think that explains my first night in Canada. Yes.
I have someone on the pod who came and said his first night he couldn't drink water. The water he was like he doesn't like the taste of the water.
Oh no. Everything like I didn't have any regret aside that I wasn't too sure what was going to happen in the coming days, months and years. But I was excited, like something you've looked forward to. I think since I
Hmm.
finished secondary school, I've always had that dream like I just want to go abroad where things work. There's a government, there's a system. I wanted that sanity in my life and I long dreamt about it. So stepping my foot here, it wasn't really something I was worried about or like again, what helped me, I think, is that just before I came to Canada and in the previous 10 years, I think I was traveling a lot. And knowing the fact that I wanted to move to Canada, each trip, it was kind of an opportunity to accustom myself with what it looks like to live in the Western world. So nothing
Yeah.
really came very strange to me. And I had my daughter in the US, so I spent almost 4 years there. It was a very good opportunity for me to see how things work, put myself in their shoes, and just assume, oh, eventually get to Canada. This is what life is going to look like. So all of those experiences that I put together, there wasn't really nothing strange at all. Yeah, that
Okay.
would explain my first night and my first days. Yeah.
So kind of doubling down on that because I find it interesting. I find it interesting when you say to me that you spend some time, you spend a lot of time traveling around. So that meant that that was an opportunity for you to, kind of look at the environment you're about to move to live fully and say, how do I adjust? Now, how did that help you with kind of house hunting, with job search, or did you go straight to school once you came in? Like, how did that help with the all the settling in moves? Was it that it was easy for you to know where to go to look for something, or you just found it you were just confident enough, even if you didn't know where to go, you knew that you could find what to do or where to go to?
Yes, I think being confident and having a plan of how I wanted to achieve my dream helped me. Initially, I didn't come to go to school. I came in on PR and I was going
Yeah.
to work. And eventually, I was looking for work even from the 2 months before I left Nigeria. I started
Mm,
looking at the websites, LinkedIn. I started applying for jobs. So I wanted to look for a job and get a job and continue working like I was doing in Lagos. Eventually, though,
mm,
I went to SIT to get a certificate, but it was just an upskill. It wasn't my main intention of coming to Canada.
yeah.
So yes, my previous experiences, how I put them together to help me in these current issues was like seeing how life looks like. I didn't come to Canada before then. Right, it was
Hmm.
mostly US and the UK. I had
Yeah.
families that had younger ones. I saw how their day to day business operated, how they wake up in the morning, take kids to school, go back to work, spend the whole day, come back at night, quickly fix dinner, take the kids for activity, then they come back at home, do homework, the night prayers, and then they go to bed. So that cycle from Monday to Friday just helped me kind of like see what it looks like. And I was putting myself in their shoes. In terms of the Canadian system, I didn't really have that experience because it wasn't Canada I came to. But again, I just knew that there were platforms or organizations that help people, especially in Canada, to adjust new
Mm,
immigrants. So I leveraged on that, talking to the newcomer centers, the immigration centers, going online, following people on YouTube to see how they had just recently adjusted what they did. And then I got on LinkedIn. Networking, as we call it, right? Talking to people, looking at companies, how do they work, looking at their career profiles, and so things like that kind of gave me. It wasn't easy at first, like yes, it wasn't easy at first, but I had to talk to someone. Eventually, I met a friend or a colleague that worked at Zenith Bank, and I kind of asked him how to go about looking for work, like brushing up your CV in a Canadian way, the Canadian
yeah.
experience, what it actually meant, and all that. But in terms of resources, it wasn't a problem. And I think Canada makes it easy for new immigrants, right? The immigration centers are there. You can go there, talk to them. Couple of links are online. So you actually know what to do. You know where
Hmm.
to go, right? So it's just taking that step forward and being confident, even though we are visible minorities, but you have to be confident. You have to step out of the house,
Yeah.
right? And do what you have to do. And that was what helped me to push forward in the first days and even till now, right? Because there are some things you still want
Yeah.
to do. You kind of push back, like, am I going to be able to do that? You have to be confident. You have to believe in yourself. You have to ignore the fact that you are black or you're visible minority, which comes to play most times, and just be confident and achieve your dreams.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back a bit to something you said, which I would like you to hear your thoughts on that. You talked about how it is raising kids here. Like, how did you? I mean, we all say it's easy to adjust, but is it really that easy to adjust considering how the amount of help we have back home in Nigeria?
Yes, so that is a very good question this year. It's not easy, right? It's not easy. No matter how you look at it, it's not easy. It's a struggle to have kids. But guess what? Canadian government and the system understands that they're family friendly and they're willing to help. And what I mean with that is that if you have kids, it's easy for you to do things. Back in Nigeria, you don't tell your boss like you're going to daycare to pick up your child, right?
Mm,
If your child is in kindergarten in Canada, everybody knows you have to go pick the child up from kindergarten. It's no news to anybody, right? Your
mm,
boss will only make sure maybe you don't have a meeting around that area or you finish your work, whatever you need to go do out for your kids, go do it, but finish your work. As a matter of fact, when I first started work, I hear people talk about cats and dogs a lot. And I say to myself, if we spend this amount of time taking care of pets, I got to take time to take care of my children. So that was also a motivating factor. Back home in Nigeria, we were spoiled. From the time you give birth to the omega thing, your mother is there for 3 to 6 months. You have families running around you. You're just lying down there. You get a nanny, you get a driver, you get a cleaner, you get a laundry. God damn it, you don't get that here, right? You have to do it from
yeah.
this for yourself. From the very first moment you leave the hospital, you're all by yourself. You might be fortunate enough to have a relative or your maybe mother or mother-in-law come around. But even yet, those guys, if they come around, they just have like 1 month to stay with you. They're not going to stay here for 3 weeks for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. They have things they are doing back at home and the cold and everything. So it's a real struggle. And another struggle that comes with it is you don't have anywhere to leave your kids. If you have to go for an event, you have to make sure there's somewhere to keep your kids. And I don't know a lot of places you can keep kids a weekend. So what helps people adjust to that? It's that sorry that I'm gonna say this, but it's a partnership thing, right?
Yeah.
The husband and wife, you have to put hands together to do this. I said I'm a bit reluctant because yes, I know there are people that are single mothers here. I know that are people that unfortunately they can't come with their husband at this time or their wife, maybe because of work commitments or anything, and you are the sole parent here, but only if your kids are grown up. I mean, if you have toddlers, I'm not sure you're going to take that decision. It's going to be hard. But assuming the both couples are here, it's a 50-50 thing. It's not
Yeah.
like we did back in at home that
Nigeria, yeah.
it's a wife thing. Go take care of the kids. Go sort that. Man just goes to work, come back, you sit down. Somebody brings water, you wash your hand. We serve you food. You just relax, check if Arsenal is playing. What? No, 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 no.
Why
You
using
don't do that.
Arsenal?
No, you don't do that. You both have to take responsibilities, right? Even if your wife is not working, yes, I know some people take decision. Okay, one person have to stay and take care of the kids. Even
Mm,
at that, right? Even if only a couple is working, you still got that responsibilities at home. It's not just something one person can do. And as a matter of fact, raising kids here in the Western world is a family thing. It's not a society thing. If you don't both bend down to take care of your kids, then the society is going to do it for you, and you don't want that. So you
yeah.
both have to like bend down and put your eyes on the kids. You have to bond with them. I tend to differ that Western people love their kids more than us in Nigeria, because back in Nigeria, you dump the kid for the community, the nannies, the drivers, you go to your thing, right? And then the child is growing up, you don't have that bonding time. And kids are very funny. If you don't stay with kid a long time, you don't understand their nature and their tendency to like demand for things a lot, not to take no for an answer. So if you are used to nanny taking care of kids, the few minutes you have to stay with the kids back in Nigeria, you get so angry, you get so irritated, and the kids don't even want you. Sometimes you see them getting closer to the nanny. But here, because it's the parents doing the work, Western kids, they try to have that bond with their parents, which
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. At some point, they lose it, right? But yes, that's the part we have to struggle when they are teenagers. We'll get to that, no worries. So it's it gives you the opportunity to bond with your kids. You wake them up, dress them up, talk to them, take them to school, take them for
Hmm.
practice. You come home, they're stuck with you. It's a good opportunity to instill whatever discipline and lifestyle skills you want them to have. So
Hmm.
that's the advantage we take here. So
I, I was going to ask you if you think, because you said something about you differ on the fact that Western parents love their kids more than um
Nigerians,
we do
right?
back in Nigeria.
Yeah.
If I understand that question, that statement right, don't you think it's a system thing? So like the system just pushes parents to act in a certain way here. Because yes, I agree here. Like yes, some days ago, my wife was saying that she likes how we do 50-50 in the mornings. Like, because if you don't do that, then one person is going to get frustrated or start the day tired because you both have to kind of pitch in and get the kids ready and get them out of the door to their day homes or to the school they're going to. So both of you always have to pitch in. And so in the end, both of you all get closer to the kids because you spend a lot more time with them. So I'm
Absolutely.
asking, and but in Nigeria, like you can outsource the getting the kids ready, and all you did literally, you can even outsource getting the kid to school because the driver takes the child to school. And so, is that not a system? So, is that are the parents doing that on purpose, or is it just that we are spoiled by the system back home, and here the system forces us to spend more time with the children?
You may be right if you say it's a system that forces us because we can't afford to pay for those things. Even when you can pay for them, you see that it's not even necessary, it's not worth
Yeah, like
it,
why
right?
would you spend all that
Yeah.
money?
So yes, the system helps them to bond with the kids. And you see that when by the time their kids are 14, 15, they are very independent, right? They
Mm,
start to do things on their own. But back home, because we always get that help, like people are 20, 21, 25, mom is still cooking food, you're still living comfortably, your father's, you don't do that here. So yes, it's a system thing, it's a cultural thing. So again, that will be the positive side of what the system pushes back to us. Because I'm sure if
yeah.
we had that liberty like back in Nigeria, it will go the other way around. But in Nigeria, because you can afford those things, and Nigeria is quite stressful to actually do those things by yourself. Here, the system makes it easy.
Mm.
Imagine in Nigeria, you are stressed about the 2 hours traffic you're going to
I
get
still
to
have to
here
deal
to
with the
get to
child.
work. You don't want to. It's a lot of trouble to get kids dressed up in the morning. Like you start screaming from the first time you wake up. You don't have that time in Nigeria. And knowing that, for instance, I moved from Lagos, right? If you work on the island and you live on the mainland, you have to leave the house by 5:30.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people get to six. Maybe if you live in Yabashu area, you can manage
Yeah.
six. But if you have to leave the house that early, then you can't afford to wake the kid up and dress them up by that time, only because you
Mm,
want to be a responsible parent. So yes, some people have that good intention. Some people might want to do it, but the system doesn't allow it. And then you
mm,
have to come back from work at 10, 11 when the kids are fast asleep. You don't have that time to do homework or even ask them how their day was. And
mm,
before you leave in the morning, they are still sleeping again. So you find out that from Monday to Friday, you haven't even seen your kid. You haven't spoken to them.
mm,
Right. So yes, it's a system thing, is what the system pushes to us. And even here, the system tells you to train your child. Your kids don't learn much at school. They don't do much at school. You can't go to fight the teacher, oh, my child can't write. No, you teach your child how to write. you know. But back home in Nigeria, if your child is not doing well, you go to school and fight the teacher. Like, why are you not teaching him this? Why are you not doing this? Hey, you don't go to fight the
yeah.
teacher. Teacher would ask you to go teach your child. As a matter of fact, they don't take homework here in
Mm,
Canada, right? Most schools don't do homework and all that. Only for those that go for extra activities and
mm,
curriculums outside school, right? So they believe, I don't see it as a bad thing, but they create that vacuum for you as a parent to be the first teacher for the child. And then they want to give them time to do other things. Life is not about books. Yes, we need to read books, right? But
yeah.
you need to create that space to do other things. Whether you want to go outside to play, whether you want to go and do your sports, whether you want to get on other adventures. They're all forms of learning, especially for
Yeah.
kids, which they give you time to do. So they don't want to burden you with assignments and homework when they are going home. It's left for you as a parent and the interest of the child to find what works for you and how you want to impact knowledge on the child. So
Mm.
yes, the system. I agree with you with that. Right.
Yeah. So I probably just have two more questions for you. Why do you want to talk about why you decided to go to school? When because you said you already interviewing even back from in Nigeria before you left. So why did you? What made you change your mind? Why did you say, you know what, I'm going to go back to school before I start working?
There are two reasons. First reason was a personal thing. Reason being that I was on maternity leave. That's a
Mm,
whole 1 year. I was already working with with a banking firm here in Canada, but I was on maternity leave for 1 year. So I thought to myself that I don't have to sit at home for 1 year. So I found a course that was just about 4 to 6 months classroom work, which is data related, and I decided to go into it. It was just a way to upskill myself
Yeah.
while on maternity leave. Like personally, for me, I always went to see a growth, right? I'm always learning something. So that was just something I wanted to do while I was on maternity leave. And again, the second reason is yes, even though I was working in Canada, there is a lot of issue around the Canadian experience, Canadian certifications, Canadian education, and all that. So for me, it was a good opportunity to get one. Even though I had a job, I had something doing, but I wanted to improve. And after that certificate, it just helped me to step in there forward into my technology
Career.
career, right? So it was from there that I actually got very interested in learning how to do my codes, in building data analysis, and making new friends. So it wasn't a question. You really don't have to go to school, especially if you're on PR, right? You really don't
Mm.
have to go to school. It's not a necessity or it's not a springboard for you to do well. But if you look at yourself, if you have that time, if you want to upskill yourself, if you feel it's a necessity, or there's a field you think you need to go in that is going to pay you, there is always a chance to change,
Hmm.
upskill ourselves. Then why not, right? Yeah. So that's what happened. Why I went to sit. And I
Okay, so
have
I'm
no
good.
regrets. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great to hear. So the last question I have for you is, if you look back at the past 4, 5 years, 5 years here, what's the one thing you would have done differently?
That one thing I would think I had done
What?
differently when I came in.
Yeah, one thing you would have done differently before you left Nigeria, coming here, or when you just landed. What's the one thing you would have done differently?
Well, to be honest, I think that's a very difficult question for me to answer, right? For whatever reason, you can say it's because of luck, you can say it's because of grace, right? However,
Mm,
you want to, but when I look back, I don't see any glaring mistake that I have made or something that I would have thought, oh, maybe I should have done this or maybe I should have gone to this city. Like,
yeah.
because I had a plan, because I
Hmm.
knew what I wanted, right? And everything that I have done, which I said you can call it grace or luck, right? Everything I had planned is kind of working the way I wanted it, right? I haven't had any step that I missed or I would have wished I went back to do correctly. So, I really don't have what it is, and what I would advise people, or what can help you with that is just to have a plan. Be confident in yourself. Know what you want to do. Don't look at people, right? Some people come in, they start comparing themselves. Oh, this person is doing this, so I have to do this. So they said this. Don't worry about others. Yes, it's good to assess
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
just to grow, but then don't focus on others. Focus on yourself, your capabilities, what you can do, what you came here for. Those guys didn't push you to come to Canada. You woke up and decided to come here. So I believe you have a plan. Work on your plan. Be hardworking. Put down your faith on it, and you're going to succeed. And that's the way I look at it. And again, information is power, right? You
Yeah.
don't come in and decide to do everything by yourself. You have to ask questions. You have to leverage on what is available, whether it's talking to old friends or family that have been here, looking at the resources, networking. You have to
Hmm.
ask and learn from people's experience. That way, it's going to help you avoid making those same mistakes. Yeah. So
Makes sense. Makes sense. To be honest, um, I think one question that, or one conversation that I want to have someday, and maybe we're out of time here. It would have been good to have it, but one conversation I want to have someday with someone is about this thing you mentioned about how when people come here, we start to either compare, or people start to say things like, everyone is doing X, so go do X. Like, for example, when I landed, someone said to me, hey, go, um, everyone is doing project management, go do project management. There was no question of like, just yeah, what do you like to do or what are you interested in? Just go do project management. And I said to the lady who was saying that to me that, look, I was in doing content before I left Nigeria, and I love doing content, and I know I'm going to get a job in content as long as I keep going at it. And the response she said to me, I can't even say it on here, to be honest. Like, you know what you and I was like, okay, well, you know what, I'll just keep trying doing what I'm doing. I was applying for a job at Shopify, and she was like, you can't get those kind of jobs. You just got in. Like, we shouldn't think of those kind of jobs. Like, I was like, why would you even say that to me? I'm just 2 days in the country. I'm still I'm still in quarantine. You're telling me that
You are even lucky they didn't ask you to go to Amazon. Is it
where
Amazon warehouse work or
warehouse,
something, or just
yeah,
security? I mean, those things are not bad, right? If you eventually have to do it to feed your family, you have to do it.
yes,
But again, don't tell somebody if you step in, that's what you must have to do. It's not true, right? Put
yeah,
your feet out there, do what you can. At some point, if you decide, oh, this job is taking too long for me to get, I need some money to pay my bills and all that, then you can find a menial job and all that to keep up. But I don't believe you should tell somebody coming from Nigeria, oh, you must have to do this, or everybody's
yeah,
doing this. It's not true, right? So,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
we
it's
can talk
it's
about it some other time. I think it's really a
yeah.
question. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
something
it's
that we
a
need to
it's a
throw out there
deep,
for
it's a
people.
long conversation, honestly, for me. Like, it's a really long conversation. But thank you so much,
Yeah,
Chika. Thank you for joining us on here. Thank you everyone for listening in. Please, if you enjoy this podcast, please share with your friends, and share with people about newcomers. Chika, one last question for you. Can you refer one person that we can interview on this podcast, please? You don't have to do it online. You can send me a name later. Can you think of someone and send to me?
of course I will.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for listening. Please subscribe. And I believe, like I said, information is power, right? Yeah, there is nothing wrong with taking information. What the problem is, or the work you have to do, is sifting the information you really want to imbibe. But there's nothing wrong. Subscribe. Tell your friends to, oh, come look at Riverside. You've got something to learn from it. And trust me, if you learn from other people's experience, then you don't have to make the same mistakes. It saves you time and
Yeah.
money. So why
Yeah.
not,
True.
right? So
True.
thank you everybody for listening. We hope to see you some other time.